Mr. Durand, according to your complaint, you became involved with the defendant while she was married and made a series of loans to her. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Several $1,000s, $3,000.
Almost $3,000, yes.
She says that you didn't make any loans. Whatever you gave her were gifts.
Gifts.
How did you meet each other?
Through a friend of mine's wedding. We both were involved in a wedding, and the lady that my buddy was marrying set us up to where we both walked down the aisle together.
And how long did this relationship last that you developed?
About 2.5 years.
It's a long time. You were living with your husband at the time?
Yes, and it was 2 years, ma'am.
Now tell me about these loans that you made to her during that time.
She'd asked for money. She said she wanted to get a job, and she needed money to get clothes and different things, and I gave her the money. At different times, she'd call and say, I need this much. I wrote a check for this amount, and I can't cover it. We put it in the bank on several different occasions. On receipts, I have all the bank receipts.
Well, just because you gave her money, Mr. Durand, doesn't mean that they were loans. What makes you think that they were loans, sir?
Well, the money I put in her account, I told her that had to be paid back. I gave her money also out of my pocket on different occasions.
I understand the dynamics of this situation from the papers that I have, which is you decided to stay with your husband and you called this relationship off.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was after that that you pursued these alleged loans.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Durand, were they loans?
Yes, at that time, yes, they were.
Which ones were loans, sir?
The ones I have the receipts from my bank account to her bank account on, yes, are loans.
And how much is that?
$2,920. The money that came straight out of my pocket, which is about $1,000, I was just giving her 100 here, 100 there. I told her, don't worry about paying back.
Now, Mrs. Blick, $2,920 is what he said he has in bank receipts. Do you remember getting that kind of money from him?
Yes and no, ma'am.
Well, yes.
Okay, yes. But let me elaborate on that. I would pick up things, say groceries or whatever the case may be. I don't recall exactly everything I picked up, and he would say, if he didn't have the cash on hand, he would deposit it into my account.
That's a lot of groceries for $3,000.
No, it wasn't just groceries. It was several different things.
Like what?
Clothing.
For whom?
For himself.
Let me see the bank receipts, please. During this 2-year period, you were living with your husband or you were living with him?
No, I lived with my husband.
So what did groceries have to do with him?
No, if I was somewhere, he would ask me to pick up things for him. I would pick up things for him. If I was at the mall, he would ask me to pick up things. I would pick up things. He borrowed money from me and also deposited money into my account that he owed me.
Did you ever owe her any money?
No, ma'am.
For deposit to the account of Rob Blick.
That's her husband. I wrote it.
It's a joint account.
There's 2 receipts there on the same day. I think one's for 50 and one's for 110. One to her account, and one to her husband's account. To where I wrote a check, I can't cover it.
Just a second. That's sort of interesting. Didn't your husband ask where this money was coming from if this was a joint account?
Ma'am, it's a joint account, okay, yes. But if he owed me the money, I would give him the money. This account basically...
You're not answering my question, Mrs. Blick.
No, he didn't ask because this account basically I take care of. He doesn't.
I'm looking at deposits to your account, $600.
Okay.
$320. Where's odd numbers? $110.
Because this would be money also that he owed me, that he had borrowed from me.
Well, explain that to me, Mrs. Blick. Explain to me how he borrowed money from you.
He would say that he didn't have any money. Could he please borrow some money? And I said yes, and I let him borrow money.
Does that sound familiar, sir?
No, ma'am, I don't see how I could borrow money from her if she wasn't working at the time, trying to get on her feet. How can I borrow money from her?
If you would look at those statements, ma'am, I did work.
I didn't ask you whether you worked or not. It just doesn't, something doesn't smell right when you say that you lent him money.
Well, I did.
How much?
I don't know the total amount that I loaned him, but I never ever asked him to borrow money. He didn't give me money that I asked to borrow, ever.
$2,900.
Yes.
He deposited into your account. And you're telling me that none of this was a loan?
No, ma'am, it was not.
Well, tell me about it. You tell me about it. We're not talking groceries here. We're not talking about a box of cornflakes.
Well, I mean,
We're talking about, over a period of 2 years, almost $3,000, and that's not including what he says is cash out of pocket.
Okay, I will tell you about it. He would give me money. If I was going out, he would say, here, take some money, have some fun with your friends. He would ask me to borrow money because he does not work in the winter. He's off, several months. I'm not sure exactly how many months, and he did not work. There was times where he did not collect his unemployment for a certain amount of time. I don't know the balance there, how long it takes him to get his unemployment. He would ask for money from me also then. I would give him money because he had no money, no income whatsoever.
All these, Mr. Duran, receipts for 1996. So that's during a one-year period.
Yes, ma'am.
You say you had this affair over a 2-year period.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, when did you start giving him money?
Starting into the second year. The first year, we were just seeing each other, and then she said she wasn't happy with her husband. She loved him more as a brother than a husband. She wanted out. She wasn't happy, but she was staying because of her son, her one son.
It's the wrong thing for her to get involved in this situation. It was also the wrong thing for you to get involved in this situation, sir. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your papers, you have a tape that memorializes her statement that these were loans.
Yes.
When did you make that tape?
The last time I talked to her on the phone, which was, I think 4 months ago.
You want to tell me what it says on that tape?
I asked her when she's going to pay me. She says whenever. I told her to put it in my account. She said, to start with, she said no. At the end of the conversation, she agreed to put the money in my account. I gave her my account number, which is on the tape also. And she told me quit harassing her, which harassing her once every 3 months to call her, find out where my money is, I don't consider harassing. I told her if the money's not in my account, when I check my bank statements, that I want an answer why it's not there. And I won't call and harass her. And she agreed to that.
What did she say?
She said that she would start putting the money in my account. I told her I wanted $50 to $100 a week. And she said, I can't promise you nothing because I have my truck payment or car payment out of one of her checks. And I said, well, if the money's not there, I want you to call me and let me know why it's not there so I don't have to call you and leave a message on your answer machine.
Does that sound familiar to you, Miss Blick?
The conversation we had, somewhat like that, yes. He did call my house.
Where you said that you would put money in his account.
Yes, but I didn't owe him the money. I was just trying to get this man to leave me alone. He has harassed me. He has harassed my son. He has threatened to do things to me. He has told me I've had to watch my back. It was so bad.
Are you telling me that if I were to play this tape, it would say that you would start to put the money that you owed him into his account every week?
Yes.
That's it. I don't have to listen to the tape. Listen, Mr. Duran, she acknowledged that this was a loan. She acknowledged it on this tape. I don't have to listen to the tape because she's already told me that she told you that she would put the money in your account. I don't believe you, madam, when you say you told him that because he was harassing you. He wants his money. The two of you were involved in an affair that probably shouldn't have taken place. However, he gave you money. Some were gifts. $50 out of his pocket, go have a good time is not a loan. That's a gift. But clearly, you had an understanding that some of it was supposed to be returned. Perhaps if you had, in fact, left your husband and gone to live with him and had a life together, he would have forgiven those loans. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Exactly what was said.
Well, Mr. Durand, you know the old song, never get involved with a married man?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Goes the other way around, too, sir. All right. I'm satisfied that at least the monies that were placed in the defendant's bank account were placed there as a loan, and I am awarding you $2,920. That's all.